Hello there guys, it's time for comments on comments. Right, I need to remember to drink my coffee while it's still hot. Right, I know I've said it before, but I think comments on comments needs some kind of jingle. I think I might make one. I can play a little bit of piano, so I might have a little crack at that, or guitar. And then some very bad singing because I can't sing. Right, as always, we're going to kick off comments on comments by having a look in the likely spam. Let's have a look what YouTube considers to be spam. Still working on PS4 in November 2019. That's not spam. Right, 100 subscribers without a single video. What an amazing name. We absolutely need to check this guy's channel, see if he still doesn't have a single video, and possibly subscribe. Let's have a look. Oh, my internet's going bloody slow today. 31 subscribers. Oh, he hasn't made it yet. All right, let's make it 32. There you go, mate. So, Mr. 100 subscribers without a single video. You lie! You now have 32 subscribers. I wonder if the other 31 did exactly what I did. Read his name and thought, yep, I'm going to subscribe to this dude. Let's see how high his subscription can go before he actually uploads anything. Right, anyway, that is not spam, so let's permit that. Lovely jubbly. And now let's get down to business. Right, so we've done that one. So we'll thumbs it up. You need a car built correctly for drifting. This was the removal traffic video, which was absolutely ages ago, and my drifting was completely shit. So I've moved over to, I'm now using the BMW from the Formula Drift. I can't remember what BMW it is. It might be a 325i, I think, maybe something like that. It's orange, I believe. It's got two big fat fans in the back, look like a computer. But anyway, that's the drifting car I'm using at the moment. And I'm using it with a default setup of whatever it comes with. But I'm in that. I'm staying in about second gear, going around 40 mile an hour or so, and finding it a lot easier than what I was doing before, which I think I was using the Forza Edition M3, the one with the drift bonus. I can't remember, but I think I was. But anyway, it's an old video, and that's why my drifting is completely shit. It's still not good, but it's definitely getting there, and it feels better now, whereas before, drifting always felt hideous, but it feels better now. Oh yeah. Before I crack on, I was going to talk about games on the Game Pass. Have you seen what's been added to the Game Pass today? There's shitloads of stuff. So also, I've got to buy a PC. I use a Mac. And it's only a MacBook. It would be absolutely useless for playing games, but it's very good for my business because it's crap for playing games. So therefore, I don't procrastinate and think I'm going to do some work, get on the laptop, and then immediately start playing a game. So it was a very sensible buy because when I'm on it, I do tend to actually work. But now that Xbox Game Pass has got the PC version as well, there's a lot of good games that are available, and I don't have a Windows PC. I haven't had one for a really long time, but I'm going to buy a Windows 10 PC just so I can get those games that are on the Game Pass. That Flight Simulator, which I think looks fucking amazing, that's going to be on Game Pass. So I've been reading through the ones that are on this year. What's just been added, Age of Empires has just been added on computer, which I want that. On the console, I'm just checking on my phone, on the Xbox app, they've just added Rage 2, Planetfall. I'm going to have to do playthroughs on all of these. They've added a game called Tracks, which looks really kiddie. It's like making train tracks. But I kind of love that sort of thing. Sorry about my squeaky chair. Well, I love that sort of thing, so I'm definitely going to dive into that. I've just set all these things to download. Now, thankfully, my Xbox is on Instant On at the minute, so me doing them on my phone here in my office should be downloading them on my Xbox. So when my cleaner goes and I can start playing at about 2:30, 3 o'clock, hopefully they'll be installed. But another game that I really, really like, I played quite a lot whilst I wasn't uploading videos when we'd got the dog at home. Is it Railway Tycoon, something like that? Anyway, it's brilliant. I love it. You make a railway track, and then you can ride your train on the track, and the train gets dirty and it wears out and it goes rusty and stuff. Oh, it's so good. But Land's End to John O'Groats, and then just watch the entire journey. And so I'm going to get back into that game because I really enjoyed playing it. The game is kind of like a resources thing where you have to get stuff from one place, put it somewhere else, all that kind of thing. But it's just much more fun to build a load of train tracks that go through various cities and towns that you know. So I did mine all over England, well, all over the United Kingdom, because you've got everywhere. I actually bought all the expansions as well, so I did quite a few in France. and then just ride the trains. It's so good. It's so good. So I think I'm going to get back on that, make some tracks, and then put some trains on my tracks, and then ride my trains and make videos on it, because it's very pleasing. I think watching a video like that, a train going from Land's End to John O'Groats, or from anywhere to anywhere, it's just that's a specifically nice route. I think that's much better than watching someone cut up soap or watching someone eat like deep fried chicken. It just is. I would sit and watch like the graphics of some cool old trains like for hours. I really would. I'm going to make a bunch of them videos. I definitely am. I might make a YouTube channel that's just train journeys. It'd be amazing. I have started making other YouTube channels, right? I was thinking, there are people that make a shitload of money on YouTube, like more money than me and all my family will ever earn in our lifetimes. You know, like people that do things like cut up soap and eat deep fried chicken. So I've been thinking about different things that make money on YouTube, and I thought, well, I'm going to make a YouTube channel and just put the kind of stuff up there that seems to go viral. So I've been having a little bit of a think about it, and I'm going to chuck up a new channel that does that kind of thing. Now, I'm not going to try and make this channel more profitable, because I know I like the way I do it now, so I'm going to stick with this. I just enjoy it, but I know there's a lot of things that I could do on here that would make it a lot more profitable. There's a lot of things I could do on here which would work a lot better for the algorithms of YouTube, like focusing on just one game or one type of game would help. But no, I enjoy doing this, so I'm going to stay with this as it is, but I am going to create new YouTube channels, and for the sole purpose of trying to rinse YouTube for as much money as I can. I started one about a year ago, which was to do with playing the piano, like little piano lessons, some tutorials and things. So I might get back into that one and upload a load more videos on there. It's only got like about 20 subscribers or something, but I started it because I was learning to play the piano, and I thought I'm going to make a series of videos which document me learning the piano, but I didn't really keep up with my teach yourself at home lessons. So the videos, I couldn't really record any videos because I wasn't doing anything. But I might kind of put some life back into that one and fill it with piano music and see if that can grow and generate an income. Would be nice. Or I might just cut up soap. I find that insane. Anyway, comments on comments. Let's have a little look then. Right, it's patched now. I've done this method and several others on Supernova, and none of them work. Right, I'll have a little check and see if it does or not, because I've noticed that sometimes these work and sometimes it doesn't. Like, I was trying to do one of them, and it was on Supernova mode, and it was a glitch that I'd found. And I did it, it worked. I tested it again, it worked again. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I found this glitch on Supernova mode. And then I started recording, and I went to do it again, and it just would not work, and I couldn't work out why it wouldn't work. So I actually sacked off that completely. I deleted that playthrough. I'd only kind of got to, I'd got to my ship, that was about it. And I started a new playthrough and tested the glitch again, and then it did work. So I don't know what causes it not to work. More experimentation is needed. But the methods that I've done so far, they're not 100% consistent. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they work in one place but not another, and then other times it's different. So I've got no idea what's going on, but I'm pretty sure it's not been patched. But I'll have another crack at it and see how it goes. Right then, LCD Dog, not something I would play, but still have a look and a like. Cheers, mates. Doing Grid 19 at the moment. Grid, I think that looks brilliant. I think Grid was brilliant when it first came out, and Grid 2 was brilliant-ish. Actually, Grid 2 weren't so good, was it? Grid 2, I'm pretty sure that was the first game I ever played that had a decent rewind, and also you could select your name from a list of names so that they'd actually say your name in the game. I thought that was pretty cool. But the new Grid, I haven't got it yet. I've got way too many games to play, and there's just been a whole bunch more added on Game Pass, so I'm putting off buying anything. But I was going to buy several of the Final Fantasies, and I almost did buy them. The only reason I haven't bought them is because I'm too busy playing other stuff. I thought I'll buy them when I'm ready to play them. Right, they're adding 10 Final Fantasy titles to Game Pass. and a whole shitload of games that I was going to buy. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to buy anything anymore. I'm just going to put off buying something unless I desperately want it and I cannot wait for it, because it seems that everything that I either was about to buy or I've already bought is getting added to Game Pass. It's insane. But I've got to say, Grid, I've had a little look at Grid, and it does look absolutely fucking awesome. It really does. It looks amazing. So I should get on it. Same thing goes for Need for Speed. Is it Need for Speed Heat? It is, isn't it? Payback's the previous one. I'll tell you what, I wish games would just call themselves Need for Speed 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. It's so fucking annoying not knowing which is which. This is the problem with EA Access as well. If you've got EA Access, you'll definitely know this problem. You can list the games alphabetically, and then you've got to look through them. You can't list them as last added. So if you want to see if any new games have been added, you've got to go through them all and look and see if there's anything that you don't recognise from before. I noticed that, is it called A Way Out or something, where it's like the co-op escape from prison thing? I noticed that was on EA Access yesterday or the day before. I don't know if it was previously on there or not. I don't know if it's new, but I do remember when it came out, I was thinking, I wouldn't mind having a crack at that, but I think it's only co-op, and I kind of prefer single-player games. I would like to play co-op games with my wife, but she is absolutely fucking useless at any games at all, and it'd just be annoying and frustrating for me. But I'm sure someone online could. But anyway, I started it downloading. But yeah, I really wish they'd allow you to list the games by most recently added, so you could just open up EA Access, have a quick glance and go, oh yeah, here's a new one I ain't got yet, and download it. It is very, very annoying. But anyway, yeah, Grid does look bloody good. But I do wish all games would just call themselves whatever the game is, and then 1, 2, 3, like that. It's like there's so many things that are on the Game Pass, which I have no idea which one is the oldest one, which one is the newest one of a series of games. It's like those, what they're called, it's like a first-person shooter. I can't remember what they're called anyway. It's kind of like the one with the Nazis in it. I've never really played them, but I've always sort of fancied having a go with them. But there's loads and loads of them, and I've got no idea which one came out when. Damn, call yourselves 1, 2, 3, etc. Right, Aaron Davis, if you combine this with Dogmeat, it's way more easy. Right, I absolutely hate the Dogmeat glitch. I hate it with a vengeance. I can't do it. It annoys me. He walks all over the place. You have to keep giving him extra instructions. It's so frustrating. It's not easy. It's just annoying. But the good thing about the conveyor belt, once you've built the conveyor belt, which is so quick and easy to do anyway, it's like you just stand in one place, completely still. And as stuff goes past, you just pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You don't have to move, you just sit there pressing the X button. You don't have to do anything. Every now and again, you chuck all your stuff back in the conveyor, and the vacuum hopper sucks it back out, it comes around again. And once your conveyor's full, it comes around in rhythm. So there's the same amount of gap between them, so you can just get in a flow. It's a million times easier than Dogmeat. The Dogmeat glitch is such a pain in the arse, it really is. I don't really like anything about Dogmeat. It's just fucking annoying. It's like if you're duping stuff on the floor and you've got a load of stuff on the floor and he's your companion, he just walks all over it and all your shit goes everywhere and you lose stuff. It's very annoying. Right, Riders Night says that this is working as of whatever date that is. So, yep. It works. It changes the date. It absolutely works. But I've made a new video on this as well, like a different one. And the new one is better quality because I'm using a different capture system now. But it works. It definitely changes the date on your Xbox, but on some games that doesn't help you because that game will not do anything unless it goes online and then it checks the date and it puts it back. Whereas other games, if you've got your console set to your home console, which I don't think I mentioned on this video, it's got to be set to your home console, then on some games you can play offline and you can adjust the date backwards or forwards however much time you want, and that's going to change things in the game, like you get certain weapons or cars early or things that you've missed in the past and things like that. So it's good on some games, not on others. It doesn't work on everything. Right, cheats and tips. This was for Supernova mode, cheats and tips on the Outer Worlds. Right, Lawrence Gillespie says that's a good tip. It's hard to say if it's intentional or not regarding autosaves. I believe the game also saves when loading into separate areas such as Edgewater. Does it? I didn't know it did that. But yeah, I think that they will release a patch, and what's going to happen is the autosave will be at your ship when you teleport to your ship rather than where you teleported from. Because if the autosave is at your ship, then it doesn't benefit you at all. You've teleported to your ship, you reload the game, you back up your ship. That doesn't benefit you. But the way it is at the moment, wherever you are, before you fast travel to your ship, that's where the autosave happens. So it's a really easy way of saying, oh, I'm going to stick a save down here in case these dudes kill me, teleport to your ship, and then you reload and you're back where you was. So that does benefit you. So I think they'll clock onto this and they'll put an update out where when you do teleport to your ship, it'll bung down an autosave, but you'll be in your ship. And that would stop that being, used in that way. Right, Raptus West. We're on the duplication exploit. I don't have auto updates on my Xbox, so nothing else has changed other than I turned the power off in Edgewater. This is a guy that couldn't get it to work. So it didn't work for you in Edgewater. Sometimes it did for me, sometimes it didn't. Some places it worked, some places it didn't. So this guy said try Roseway, and then he said update. I tried Roseway and it worked. Yeah, it's so weird. It's like I'll be on a playthrough and a glitch will work for me in Edgewater. And then it suddenly won't work in Edgewater, and I'll start a new playthrough, and that same glitch does work in Edgewater. I've been trying to find out what it is that causes these things to stop working, but I've not managed to find it yet. But on my Xbox, I've got absolutely loads and loads of saves on what do you call it? What's it called? Hang on, let's have a look. The Outer Worlds. Well, I've got so many saves on the Outer Worlds where I'm trying different little versions of the glitches that I've found so far to try and discover what does and what doesn't work, what causes it to work, what doesn't cause it to work. And I'll tell you another thing, and this has really pissed me off actually. I was playing on Supernova mode, and Supernova mode, I hadn't done any manual saves at all. I hadn't slept in my bed, and I hadn't done a manual save. But I'd got my... like the what's it saves, like from when I'd done what we were just talking about, when I teleported back to my ship. So I'd got some auto saves and I hadn't got any manual saves on my playthrough on Supernova mode. And I'd been playing through very, very carefully. This was no cheating, no duping or anything like that. I'm playing through quite carefully and I was quite pleased with my progress. And then I was playing on a new playthrough just for the sake of testing out like exploits and glitches. And it did some autosaves. And those autosaves now, when I try and load up, I've only got 3 autosaves, and none of them are that playthrough on Supernova mode, and I don't have a manual playthrough for it either. That character is not there anymore. So be aware of that, because that really, really annoyed me. I've got loads and loads of playthroughs all going on simultaneously. My main one, which is what I'm uploading videos on, I'm not doing any cheating, any duping or anything like that. I'm playing the game properly. Well, actually, I'm playing it a bit like an idiot. Keep killing quite main characters. But that is the one that I am saving on and stuff. But the playthrough that I was doing really for myself, which was a Supernova one, yeah, I've completely lost it all. There are no saves whatsoever for that character now. So be aware of this if you are playing on multiple playthroughs like me, because it really annoyed me. Right, what's this? Max level out of the vault. God, this video here, I've changed the date on it because it still works, so I just uploaded the thumbnail. But that's the very first video I made for this channel, and it's the reason I made this channel. So this is insane. Laugh out loud. It's pretty good, isn't it? So it's a way that you can, I mean, a lot of people have commented saying, I'm at the vault and it's not max level. Like you go out the vault and you walk to Sanctuary and then you do some stuff that takes a couple of hours, then you're max level. And I mean, you're not max level because there isn't an upper max level as well. There is. I know some people go, yes, there is. There is, but it's stupid high. But as high as you really need to go in order to be almost invincible to everything, you can do immediately right at the beginning of the game. You just got to sit there pressing a few buttons, really. You duplicate a load of stuff and then you get an insane amount of XP from this thing that you do. And if you've watched this video but you haven't watched any of my other Fallout ones, have a look at some of the ones which talk about getting over double max stats immediately right at the start of the game. Like before you leave Sanctuary, leave the vault, walk to Sanctuary, do some stuff, and you can get your stats over double. It's kind of, you penalise your character first of all by not sleeping for about 5 days, and all your stats go really, really low down. Then you do something that gets all your stats up to 10, and then you eat and drink and sleep, and then all your stats suddenly go up a lot higher. They don't all go to 20, but they all go up a lot higher than 10. Now, I'm not sure, but I think the withdrawal from certain drugs that you use in the game as well might also help you to tweak that a little bit higher. But, I mean, you really don't need to. It's like once you've done that, you've leveled up your character a bit, nothing's going to bother you. You could probably punch a Deathclaw to death. Well, you probably couldn't, really. They're pretty tough. Right, how do I catch up with TV from the UK? Do I use a VPN? Right, I bought a VPN for one purpose only, and that was to watch Adventure Time. That was it, right? So I got a trial on a VPN, and then I also got a trial on Now TV, and I downloaded about 6 series of Adventure Time, and I watched those. I mean, there's a lot more than that. There's probably about 10 or 12 series or something. And then I left it at that. I then used a VPN on my... if anyone doesn't know, a VPN is virtual private network. You can pretend to be somewhere else in the world. So I set up my VPN to say that I was in England, and it did work on Netflix as well. And I was using it to watch stuff like Blackadder, and I watched Peep Show. Peep Show's also here, but it's not... there's more of it available in England than you can get here. So I did that just to watch the more recent series. What else did I watch? I don't really watch much TV. I watch a lot of Netflix, but I don't really watch much stuff actually on television. So I'm not that bothered about catching up with things. But yeah, I was doing that. So I did the VPN. I was on a trial thing that was free for a month, and it expired, and I haven't rebought. It only expired probably a week and a half ago, something like that. But I haven't actually paid for it. But during that time of having access to English TV for a month, that's what I did with it. Mostly just watched Adventure Time. But the Now TV app, I'd put the app on my phone. I was watching it on my phone because I had the VPN on my phone. And on Netflix, when I was doing that, I was using Netflix English on my phone, and I was using Netflix Columbia on the TV. And I think on the other TV I had Netflix America, because there's some good films on that one that you don't get on the Colombian one or the English one. But the Colombian one's got a lot of Spanish stuff, which is useful for my wife. So what I was doing is like streaming, like whatever it's called, broadcasting from my phone to my TV, like AirPlay, and to watch Netflix. But the Now TV app doesn't let you do that, so I couldn't watch Adventure Time on the big TV. I just had to watch it on my phone, which was a little bit annoying. But I didn't get through them all anyway. It's like once you download them, you've only got them for a certain amount of time before you have to watch them, and that time expired before I got through them all, because there's fucking hundreds. I mean, there are so many episodes of Adventure Time, it's insane. But it is brilliant. If you don't watch it, it's brilliant. You should watch it. It's very, very good. If you like stuff like Rick and Morty, which is also brilliant, then you'd probably like Adventure Time too. There's quite a few little cartoony things like that are pretty good. Big Mouth ain't too bad, but I think Rick and Morty is probably... No, I think Adventure Time's probably the best. Then Rick and Morty, and then probably SpongeBob. So, there we go. I was trying to get my wife into Rick and Morty, and I accidentally... I know I've said this before on a previous Comments on Comments, I think. The next show that was available to watch was a really dodgy one where they go into someone's dream and it's all sex, and Summer is trying to get Rick, Morty and Summer into a threesome and stuff, and it's all really twisted. And she was like, "You like this program?" And I was like, "Give it a chance, this is a weird episode." But I reckon if I tried to get her to watch it again, the Plutonian one, where... what's his name says that Pluto is a planet and the Plutonians are watching, and they take him up to Pluto and he becomes like really, really popular up there. That one's awesome. I think she'd like that one. And also I think Pickle Rick's pretty good as well. But anyway, let's move on. Right, if they made a new game with bigger budget, scrapped the smashing the target challenges, holy fuck, them smash up things are horrible. Worst thing I've ever seen in a driving game. It would be an amazing game. Yeah, but also they've got to do good water, because the water is shit. It really is. It's like the water on the floor doesn't move at all. If you drive through a puddle, it doesn't react. All that happens is some white spray is kind of like generated around your car on top of that water. But if you look at that actual puddle you've just driven through, there's no ripples or anything like that. I definitely think they just didn't have enough money. It's like that game, it's got so much potential if they make a Gravel 2, because the thing... And I've said this loads of times whilst playing it, but the thing they get right is that the game is fun to play. It really is. It's a lot of fun. It's like the feeling of sliding around the corners with your handbrake and, you know, counter steering into your slide. It's just lovely, and it's very, very easy to do. It's a lot easier to do that on gravel than it is on Forza or anything like that. It's just nice. A couple of the tracks are really, really annoying because they're too small and you really can't see what's going on. Some of the lighting is a bit weird, but I mean, it's so nearly a brilliant game. But I really, really, really hope they bring out a Gravel 2. And hopefully, after watching my videos, they should hold a big conference of all the people that make it, and they say, right, we've got to watch these videos off YouTube. This is how you improve our game. I'll tell you what, on a similar note, WRC need to watch my videos as well on how to improve their game. Make the fucking road wider, so people that are not experts at driving don't keep falling off a cliff or driving into a wall and feel like they're completely shit. It's like, those rally games need to have an easy mode where the road is just wider. So it's like, it is a nightmare. Right, this glitch has been patched, it doesn't work anymore. It's not a glitch. It's a car that's got money in the car, and you just buy the car, you unlock the money. I'm pretty sure it ain't. I really don't know, I haven't checked, so I can't say one way or another. But I would imagine that those cars still have that money inside them. You've got to spend skill points, of course, so it's not just like giving you it for free. But I don't know, so I'm not going to thumbs up or thumbs down, because I really don't know. Right, what is this? So it works on Supernova mode, start with unlimited bits. This worked for me in normal. I could not get the fast travel exploit to work. Okay, that's interesting. So the fast travel didn't work for you. Try the fast travel somewhere else. Try it in Roseway, because I mean the person earlier on couldn't do it in Edgewater but could do it in Roseway. And I know Edgewater's like much closer to the beginning of the game, but Roseway ain't that far in. You don't have to do much to get to Roseway. I mean, that's before you've got the 10,000 bits to buy that nav key thing. So yeah, it is right at the beginning, really. I mean, it's not, it's a few hours in, but it is at the beginning compared to the length of the game. Right, so it worked for you on normal. I couldn't get the fast travel exploit to work. That's a bit of a shame, really, because now you've got to wait for 2 loading screens instead of 1 every time you do it. I had almost 20,000 picks, shunts, weapons and armor parts each. It started lagging audio for me. I ended up settling down to 5,000 each and then quitting the game out to get back to normal. Right, I reckon what people want to do is, once you've duped your stuff up and you've got an absolute load of it, don't sell it all. Keep like a bunch of a few thousand of something. Either chuck it in a box on your ship, or keep it on you if it's something that doesn't weigh anything. Obviously, if it weighs something, you can't keep it on you because you'll be encumbered. But then, if you find that in the future you need more money, you can just go and dupe that once and then sell half of it again, rather than starting from the beginning. When you start from the beginning, you're just duping one thing at a time, having to walk in and out. It takes bloody ages. But once it's built up to a few thousand, it's like you dupe it once and you got a shitload, and then you can sell that. I mean, I got up to 1 million bits in no time at all, but I was thinking, right, if I spent like 1 more minute walking in and out and duping my totals, then I'd be on so much more. It's exponential growth when you get up to the high numbers. It really is. It's brilliant. Very helpful, thank you very much. You're very welcome. You're a legend, dude, not gonna lie. Right, what had I done? Oh, it was the duplication exploit. I hope it still works, I'm gonna have to check. Right, JD Fett. Right, it's interesting to see someone with drastically different playstyle to you. I will admit to having shouted at the video a few times, not least if you had talked to Higgins before going down deep into the power station. You could have got the mechanicals on each other. And made your life significantly easier. I mean, they're quite easy to shoot anyway if they turn around and show you their belly. But, right, the stupid thing is, I'd played through before and I knew Higgins was down there and I knew he did that. I knew that if you went and saw Higgins first, you could hack them and they would attack each other. So it is, I agree, it is stupid that I didn't do it. And, oh my God, there are some videos coming up that you are going to shout at, you really are. When I meet Cassandra, you'll probably shout at that one a lot. And also, you're probably going to shout, use the map. And when you get to that one, I think it's the one I uploaded yesterday or the day before, I actually did use the map to try and find where the stairs were. It was driving me fucking crazy, and I just didn't think of the map. But yeah, I do find it quite interesting watching other people play games that play them significantly different to what you do. It is an interesting thing to watch. I did say I'd do this playthrough the way I would play in real life, but in real life I've never actually shot someone in the face because the conversation was getting boring, whereas I have done this a couple of times on the game, so it's not exactly real life, but it's as close as. Right, what we got next? Duplication exploit again. Tested on November the 11th, couldn't get it to work. Was there a patch? Edit. Wouldn't work in Clearwater. Roseway works perfectly. Okay, so it seems that a lot of people are having much more success in Rosewater than they are somewhere else. I couldn't get it in Clearwater. Does it work everywhere? Right, it's really weird because it works some places and not other places. And then, but it's not consistent. It did work in Clearwater for me, Edgewater, I thought it was called Edgewater, it's Clearwater then. Anyway, it worked there, then it didn't work there. It just keeps going, I don't know. I need to find out what is causing this. And as I say, I've already got a stupid amount of saves where I'm trying to figure out what it is that stops it working once it has been working. And I've tried so many things. You won't believe how many just stupid little things, like walking through the door without my pistol drawn, or duping the stuff on the floor only where I'm close enough to not have to take a step before I fast travel back through the door again. I've just tried so many silly things. It's dropping in 2 stacks, dropping on something instead of directly on the floor. I just haven't worked out what it is yet, but I'll keep trying. If anyone else finds out what it is, then please do leave a comment and let us know, and we can share it with people. I mean, even leave a link to your own channel if you put a video up there, and just so that people know. But if you haven't got a channel or you're not uploading videos, let me know. I'll upload it, and I'll obviously credit you as the source as to where the information came from. Right, I'll try Rosewater today, see if I have any luck. Thanks. Good luck. Was able to get it working in Roseway. Right. So, not Rosewater, Roseway. Right, so it seems that people are having a lot more success in Roseway than anywhere else. So, have a crack with that. One of the things that I noticed is it seemed to work... well, actually, that's not relevant anymore because it is working in Roseway. And when you fast travel to Roseway, you're not inside, you're outside. You're outside on the street on that pinky coloured road. And... which is probably why it's called Roseway, because the way is a rose colour. But one of the things that I was thinking when I was first starting to test out these glitches, they seem to work inside as opposed to outside more often. But ignore that completely because that's not actually true. They just work in some places, sometimes other places, other times, and sometimes nowhere, and sometimes everywhere. And then sometimes they work on your character, and then they don't. It's weird. Right, let's have a little look. You've probably realised this by now, but keep an eye on your directional compass at the top of the screen. Not only will it prevent accidentally going up a dead end, it doesn't. Right, I'll walk into dead ends all the fucking time. Also, any enemies that are approaching will appear as red triangles. Yeah, I do look out for the red triangles, often before you even see them. Right, I'll tell you what also happens. It says, it gives me some experience points for finding a vending machine. I'm thinking, what fucking vending machine? I didn't find anything. I still think that first person view is too claustrophobic. I feel too close to all the stuff that is around me. It feels like I haven't got a big enough field of vision. It really does. It's not like real life. I really, really wish I could be on third person. I mean, it's not making me feel nauseous anymore, which it used to, but I think that's because I'm sitting very close to the TV. But... it's still not right. I would much prefer third person. I really wish that was an option. Very worth going off the track, as you can stumble across many unique and powerful weapons. Right, I don't know if you've seen the video yet where I just sell all my stuff, but I imagine you shouted at me when I did. Or I scrap all my... I break down all my stuff, and it might be stuff that's worth money. Right, I'm playing on story mode, and it seems to be a little bit too easy, so it's kind of like I'm picking up all this food and I think I don't fucking need any of it. I really don't need the perk that it gives me, so I just keep selling my stuff, and it's like my armour at the minute, it's completely shit level armour, but I think it looks nice, which is why I'm using it. I don't need to have armour that's more powerful because I'm not struggling to play. I might have to crank the level up a little bit. I mean, I'm getting a little bit better at... killing things. I mean, I did say when I started it, I'm crap at first-person shooters, therefore I'm going to play on story so that you don't have to sit through watching me die over and over. But it does seem a little bit too easy, so I might crank the level up. We'll see. I'll continue as I am, and then we'll decide from there. Right, I should do this in the reverse order, really, shouldn't I? Because I'm reading comments backwards. Late to the party on this playthrough, but I'm playing the game myself and didn't want any spoilers. Yeah, fair play. Now I'm ahead, and it'll be interesting to see how different your path is to mine. Never got into Fallout. Fallout 4 was brilliant. Don't even try and get into Fallout 76. It's a pile of wank. But Fallout 4 is probably one of the best games I think has been made on the Xbox. It's absolutely brilliant. but adored, and I'm still playing Skyrim. See, I'm the other way. I didn't get into Skyrim, but I kind of like things that are a bit sci-fi and futuristic and that, more than stuff that's like medieval and got like dragons and stuff. I feel like I'm a future person rather than a past person. I can't get into Lord of the Rings or any of those kind of things. I feel like I should like them, but even stuff like what's the program where the girl walks around naked with the dragons all the time and loads of people fuck. It's basically medieval porn. What's it called? Game of Thrones. Right, everyone raves about Game of Thrones. I just can't get into it. To me, it just looks all a bit dirty, and like, if I was in that era, I'd be thinking, oh, I fucking wished I had a phone, or I wished I had a computer or an Xbox or something. I like technology a lot, and I feel frustrated that technology is not as advanced as I want it to be. It's like I do play on a game, and I'm constantly thinking things like, why can't I smell this? Or why when I move my head doesn't the camera move? Why isn't it? You know what I mean? I really want to fucking time travel to about 20 or so years into the future, and that's I think at that stage the technology will be where I would like it to be right now. So yeah, I tend to like futury techie things more than I do dirty medieval things where everyone flies around on dragons and no one's got a computer. God, I'd fucking hate to live in that era. It'd be shit, wouldn't it? It really would be shit. Right. So yeah, I think that's kind of the reason I didn't get into Skyrim. I know everyone says it's brilliant. The Witcher as well, everyone says that's brilliant. I did buy The Witcher. I tried to get into it but couldn't. But having said all of that, I really, really got into Guild Wars, like the original one. I loved it. But if any of you tell me if you played Guild Wars. Leave a comment and let me know if you did or not. But the original Guild Wars, I was a Drachna's Forge runner. And I was a really fast runner as well. I started off with a warrior. My name was Piggyback Driver because I took people from I can't even remember the name of the first place. Actually, I used to run right from the beginning. So I used to run from as soon as you'd gone through Post-Searing, and I'd run people to Lion's Arch, and then I would run people all the way to Drachna's Forge, and then I'd run all around the Shiver Peaks as well if they wanted to go to Marhan's Grotto to get the gladiator armour. And there's a weird slidey thing you could do on the ice in Marhan's Grotto as well, which was pretty awesome. But yeah, with Piggyback Driver, I was a warrior monk runner, which I liked, and I had my elite gladiator armour, and it was a female character with pigtails. And I really enjoyed doing the run, especially the Drachna's Forge section from, I can't remember the name of the start place, but wherever the start place was, down to Drachna's anyway, that is a brilliant, brilliant run. It's really fucking difficult. Some of the spawns are really hard, but I could run that run fast on any spawn. And if anyone has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, the idea behind this is you get like a team of 8 people, and if one of you goes into a town, the rest of you appear in that town. So what you could do is you get a bunch of beginners that have got they're level 1, they've got crap armour and everything, and then you run them to the place where they can buy the top level armour in the game. So that's what I used to do. I was kind of like a taxi. And then when the factions, or whatever it was called, came out, and you had the ability to have an assassin, I had an assassin called Shiver Peak Taxi, and I used to run with the assassin on what was my build on the assassin? It was like a shadow runner. I can't remember what my, I think I was an assassin archer. I had an archer runner as well, but my assassin could run loads faster than the warrior monk, because the warrior monk you used to have to wait for some skills, and also it wasn't you hadn't got a lot. I had charge and a couple of other stances that were quick, but you had to use stuff like balance stance to stop yourself getting knocked over. But with the assassin, you had some really fast, good running skills and some teleport skills that were quite handy for getting out of trouble. So the running with the assassin was so quick. So yeah, I was called Shiver Peak Taxi because the area of the game where all the most difficult stuff is a range of mountains called the Shiver Peaks, and I used to run people all over the Shiver Peaks. But to be honest, I loved the game. I completed it. I didn't complete Nightfall or Factions. I only completed the original one. But as soon as I started becoming a runner, I just loved that more than anything. And I was thinking the game should have like a set of leaderboards so we could all have like times against each other. And there were quite a few runners as well, and we all used to hang around in the same place chatting. And it was a nice little community, and we used to race. So I'd take a group of people and someone else take a group of people, and we'd race to Drockners and see whoever could get there first. And it was a brilliant aspect of the game that was never intending to be a part of the game at all. But it was my favourite part of playing Guild Wars, was running Drockners Forge. It was difficult, it was a challenge, and it was incredibly rewarding to be able to do it, and incredibly rewarding to be able to do it fast. And also it was, back then, I don't think there were really like a culture of people putting videos on. There probably was, but I just weren't aware of them. Putting stuff on YouTube, and you could just go on YouTube and copy what someone else was doing. It was kind of, I had to develop my own skills and build, and everyone had got their own little way that they did it, and it made you feel a tremendous sense of pride that what you developed was working well, and it was good as well to help other players. It was awesome. Definitely my favourite part of playing that game, and I've never really seen anything similar like that to other games, but I would have really liked them to have made like something of that, like incorporate into the game, not just the leaderboards, but kind of like a real big thing of it, where you could actually use the game to do proper races, and like the town that you start off from, I really can't remember what it's called, but it was such a tiny little town, there was nothing there. But that's where you started the run from. But they should have made that run, that town, like a place where there was like a stadium where you would go and you would register to do the run and things. And they should have made a big deal of it. And it would have been brilliant. Yeah, I loved it. That was definitely my best part, my favourite part of that game. I mean, obviously that was kind of like a medieval type game, like fantasy, like fighting with swords and stuff and having dragons and things. And I really, really liked that. But normally I can't get into those sort of games because I miss the technology. But yeah, that was good. If it's a little bit otherworldly and they've got kind of teleporty things as well, that's not bad. Right, does this all work? No, it doesn't. So, nope. I'll actually answer this one. I'm pressing the wrong thing. Oh God, I've gone into super slow motion. I'm having a lot of trouble with the internet and with my computer today. Oh, come on. Right, nope. Sorry, it's been patched. Right, done. Right, oh, would you mind showing us your wedding video montage again? I'm sure not many of your subscribers will have seen it. It was a great video. It was a great video. It was a great wedding. Really enjoyed it. I'm not going to show it again on here, but if someone does want to watch it, you can watch it on the one that it's on from my previous things. Let's have a look. Which one is it on? I'll tell you which one it's on. Right, so I'll close this dude's channel now that I've subscribed to him. He's getting there. He's about a third of the way to his 100 people. Oh, my internet's going so slow. Right, I'm downstairs in the office, so I'm on Wi-Fi. I've got a cable that comes that I can plug in, but my adapter's only got one USB and I'm using it for my mic. So I've got to do my Wi-Fi for this. Comments. Go on then. God, it's painfully slow today. It's on one of these. Can't remember which one, but it's definitely on one of these. It'll be on one of the ones before I had a massive break. Oh look, I forgot that I'd used Forza backgrounds on them. And right, first of all I used Forza, then I used Forza and Fallout, and then I went to just using a scene because it's one that's not monetized because it said copyright claim, so it's probably this one. So have a look at the copyright claim. You're going to do something? Right, here it goes. Because it's the song that's on the wedding video that caused the copyright claim. Oh no, that's Riders on the Storm. So this is one where the girl, Vika, she plays a piano tune, and I showed her playing it because I think it's amazing. So she gets the money for that video, which I think is good because I love her piano music. So it might be this one then. I didn't think it was this far back. Yeah, this is it, because the songs are Your Love Is My Home, and Our Time. So it's on there. So that is comments on comments number 6, which is easy to remember because 6 rhymes with sex, and when you get married, you have less sex. Right, that's not true. But when you get a puppy, you have a hell of a lot less sex. So there you go. So if you want to watch my wedding video, it's on this comments on comments number 6, right at the end. But there you go. I wonder where it is, actually. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to get too distracted, but it's on that video. Comments on comments number 6. Right. But it was a good wedding, wasn't it? I had 2 weddings, actually. The other one, the first wedding I had was kind of like it was a bit crap. Right, the first one, it was in like a notary sort of office place, and it was just so I could get this document that I needed for my visa, so I had to do this. And when we were doing it, we were sat in this kind of like conference room sort of thing. It was a little bit more like, it was like probably like I expected it would be to be in court. But it was a place with lots of walnut, like a nice sort of office, but it was quite large, and our guests were all sat around and we were sat there, and the guy that was doing the actual thing was there. And as we was doing, we're doing our vows in Spanish, and I'd done mine, and then the guy himself, like the vicar chap, his phone rang, right? And it's like, first of all, I am shocked that his phone was on, but yeah, his phone rang, and he didn't go, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and immediately turned it off. He answered his fucking phone. I'd just done my vows, Carol was about to do hers. He answered his phone, and he listened for a while, and he said, in Spanish, but I'm going to say it in English, he said, "Yeah, I'm in the middle of doing a wedding." And he goes, No, I can't. I'm in the middle of doing a wedding. And then he listened for a bit more, and then he goes, No, I'll have to do later. I'm in the middle of doing a wedding. Well, I nearly just stood up and went, "Just put your fucking phone down. What are you doing?" I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he answered it, and then I couldn't believe he then went on and said for probably about 30 seconds, "I can't. I'm in the middle of doing a wedding. I'll have to do it later. I couldn't believe it, right? If any of my guests' phone would have rang, I'd have been like a bit pissed off at them. I wouldn't have let it, I wouldn't have let them know at the time, but I certainly would have said to Carol, "I can't believe so-and-so had their phone switched on for our wedding when we were reading out our vows. That was really out of order of them." And then I would have bitched and moaned in private behind their back. But the actual vicar dude himself, absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, I thought that was really out of order. But to be honest, it's kind of like after it's happened, you kind of look back and you go, "Oh, wasn't it funny when?" I mean, that's when something happens that you don't expect and it's something that's a little bit negative, you look back on it, you give it a positive spin, and it makes it a little bit more memorable. Fortunately, I was having 2 weddings. The next one, which is what the video is on, is the actual following day, which was a much better wedding. And I like it as well because the numbers work. It's like me and Carol became boyfriend and girlfriend on the 5th of the 10th, 15, so 5, 10, 15. I'm a bit OCD when it comes to numbers. I see patterns in numbers all the time. Now 5, 10, 15 is awesome because it works as normal numbers, but it also works in Roman numerals, so it kind of goes up like a triangle, which pleases me a lot. And then 2 years and 2 days later, on the 7th of the 10th, 2017, so 7/10/17, which is also a mirror image of itself. It's just so exquisite that these numbers work out like this. Is when we got married, but the official marriage, not the one that is the marriage that is the video, the one where we walk around like a labyrinth in barefoot, and we do like it's just nice. And it was up on the mountains in Colombia, and there's a beautiful view which you can see on the videos and the photos of Bogota from up there. It was just really nice. It was a nice day. It was everything went really well, and so yeah, I like the numbers and the significance of that. It's very good. So anyway, let's crack on. Thank you, my good sir. I appreciate your effort and research into this. It will help me a lot. I enjoy doing it. Every time I get a new game, I look for glitches. Most of the time, I don't find one, to be honest. And if I don't find one, I just don't bother uploading any videos on it. I mean, I could upload a video showing you me trying to find glitches on a game for about like 4 hours without success. So I try everything. The first thing I tried on this that didn't work was the ability to put something into your junk and also put it into some storage or move it around in storage. And what the reason that I tried that first of all is that's very similar to the duplication exploit that is on Fallout. It's like you have a couple of things you can do, and you can flick across the buttons, and it kind of does both of them. So you end up duplicating a thing because you've sent it to junk and you've picked it up at the same time. So you end up with two lots of it. So I was trying variations based on that idea, doing two things with something at the same time, moving it to your junk, putting it in a storage cabinet, and hoping that both of them would happen. But I tried so many variations on that idea, but it just didn't happen. But anyway, big titty indeed. I have no idea why this is big titty, but there you go. Blue-faced baby obviously likes big titties. Probably hungry if you're a baby and you want some milk. Did my character have big titties? I have absolutely no idea. Right, can anyone tell me how to put the kill mod on Xbox One? Yeah, I can. I'll do a video on it. Right, let me make a little note in my notepad. Kill mod for Sims. Actually, I can't remember the commands, but I'll do the video on it. I used to use that quite a lot. The kill mod is really useful because then you can make a place haunted, which is quite nice. Now, Mr. Cameron Adams, if you've seen my other video where I talk about how to get a free house, the kill mod would go really well with this one because it's the free house is free real estate on, I think. I can't quite remember, you'll have to watch the video. But that enables you to buy any house from the neighbourhood plot for nothing. So rather than just cheating to get a load of money, if you do that cheat and then you buy a house, I like to pretend that an elderly relative has left me that house in their will. Now, if you then use the kill mod, you can put someone in there and kill them and pretend that that was your relative and you end up with a ghost, which is an awesome way to start the game. And then you play the game properly where you've got to get a job and money and everything, but you ain't got to worry about your actual house because you've inherited that. So it sort of works. It's not even like cheating because that could happen in real life, couldn't it? So I like that. It's a really nice way to play it through. Right, you think the TVR is hard to control? Yes, I do. Check out my tune for it. I have two. One is a rear wheel and the other is all-wheel drive. My gamer tag is Exomaster855. There are amazing tunes to this car. All right, thanks. I'll check that out. Does it make it good for drifting? What's it for? What's the tune specific for? So this dude then, Exomaster855. If anyone wants to drive the TVR and they're having trouble controlling it, check out this dude's tune. If you do download it, make sure you give him a like because I know it is hard to get all those likes on stuff like your tunes and things. Right, next. Does this glitch still work? Well, it did when I replied 4 days ago saying it did. I checked it and it did. I haven't checked it again since. I imagine it does, but I don't know. I haven't turned my Xbox on today, but it is installing some games. I'm really looking forward to having a go on that train game. I really am. There are several games that I'm thinking I want to do playthrough on this and this and this. I'm going to have so many playthroughs going on. I really want to do a playthrough on the career mode of Isle of Man TT as well. Now, obviously, I've just finished Gravel. I can't be asked to go in and get the rest of the stars. I might do in the future, but I can't be asked at the moment. But because I've just finished that, it feels like I need to start another playthrough. But I am doing the playthrough on the Outer Worlds, and that's going to take a long time. Now, Jaded Fair, you're going to whiz ahead of me, because when I do a video, when I play it, I've got to video it, because I've got to continue all the way to the end, and then it's kind of like quite often I have a problem with the video and I have to do it again or something like that, or I've got the dog here, so I can't record a video. So within any given day, it's unusual for me to be able to get on that game for more than one video worth, because I can't just keep spamming my channel with the Outer Worlds. I've got to upload stuff on Forza and other things as well. I feel obligated to do that because I assume, I don't know, but I really do assume, and I think I'm right in doing so, the majority of my subscribers are here because of my Forza videos rather than anything else. So because of that, I always feel obligated to upload stuff on Forza. I like doing it. I wouldn't, upload stuff solely out of obligation. If I didn't enjoy doing it, I just wouldn't do it. I'd sack it off, like I have done with a few of my previous playthroughs, like Ashen, for instance, where I started doing a playthrough and then just thought this is too hard and it's a bit shit and just fucked it off. But I do manage to complete most of my playthroughs. I've got quite a few on my channel that I've got to the end, but I do want to start a few more, so I'm going to have a little bit of a look. Right, no ban chance? Absolutely not, no chance at all. It's just a perk in a car, so no chance of being banned. we go. Whoops. Reply. Right. I literally just started, and this is really going to help me out. You're very welcome. That's me. That's me. Really? That's it? Wow. What happens when you... Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, look, the computer's going slow again. None of the thumbnails loading. Right, this is about Conan Exiles. Right, Conan Exiles is a really fucking long game. And there, you have a bracelet on, and your bracelet keeps you in the game. If you die, you respawn in the game, and it's all because of this bracelet. But there's a big wall all the way around, and you can't walk through the wall because of your bracelet. If you try to, you die. If you take the bracelet off, you die. So there is a thing that you can do. It's kind of like the objective of the end game is to do these various different tasks that are all really quite hard, and each one of them gives you a different item. And once you've collected all of those items together, you do something with them, and this enables you to walk through the green wall that's all the way around the island without dying. So that's kind of the objective of the game. So when you do that, it triggers an end game cutscene. Now, if you don't want to know what that is, then jump forward on this video a bit. If you do want to know what it is, right, the end game cutscene is you walk through the wall and then you walk off across the desert. That's it. Then the game ends, and that character that you will have spent hundreds of hours on is no longer available to you. That's it. That is it. It's absolutely insane. It's like they desperately should do something about this. It's a really hard thing to do to get to the end game cutscene and actually accomplish the completion of the game. I was stunned when I went through that end game scene. I couldn't believe that's all it was. And what they should do as well is doing this should unlock something. It should unlock something that you can then start a new character with at the beginning of a new playthrough. Now, I think it's good. I think the end game cutscene should be a lot more than it is, just you walking across the desert. It's a bit crap. But it doesn't give you anything at all in recognition of what you've accomplished. Like, nothing. I mean, I'm not interested in trophies or stuff like that. I just don't. I always have them switched off, and they just don't interest me. But within the game itself, it is a multiplayer online game. It should give you something so that other people can see your character, and they'll be like, "Holy shit, you've completed the game because you've got this, and that's the only way you can get this. And you can't sell it to another person. They can't loot it from you or whatever it is. It should give you something." That is otherwise not available, like a different skin for your character or just something, but it doesn't. It's just so disappointing. Right, there we go. That is the end of Conan Exiles. But I mean, it's like you probably wouldn't do this, but because it's an like online game, you just continue playing the game and you fight against other factions and things. It's a really good game actually, but it's got a really bad problem. The game has a decay system on whatever you build, and you spend the entire game collecting resources and then building big fuck off castles with the resources you've collected, and then you defend those castles from enemies. That's kind of the idea behind the game. But if you then go on holiday for a couple of weeks, when you come back, all that stuff that you've built is gone. Like, it's gone. And the chances are someone else has built some stuff in your place. So when I went to England, obviously, I've got a lot of playthroughs on Conan on various different servers because different servers have different setups. And the places, if you get a server, one of the things that you can do is you can turn decay off. So if someone's built something, it stays there. Now, you would think, well, just play on one of them then. But when you do play on one of those, they are completely littered with absolute shit everywhere. It's like people have played on them. I don't know whether they've got sour grapes or something, and then they've just thought, right, sod you, I'm just going to build a whole load of crap that blocks off an entire section of the game and looks terrible. Or they just plonk down a load of massive safes everywhere that completely blocks off your access to something. They use them like walls. It just looks shit. So I tend to avoid those servers for that reason. But all the official, I prefer to play on the official server, but the official server, I think they give you like 10 days or 2 weeks or something. So every playthrough that I've got on the official server, I've got a max level character, but I've got no stuff. All my stuff was in the game, and now it's all gone. So when I went to England, everything disappeared. And since I've come back, I've not started playing it again yet. But I really do want to get back into it, because there's a place where I intend to build a base, which on the server that I'm playing on at the moment, no one has built there. But the person who is closest to there has built a map room, which is what you use to teleport around. They're really fucking useful. So they've built a map room very close to where I want to build a base. So I'm going to get back into it, and hopefully no one's built in that place yet, and I'll use their map room. But this, I've never seen anyone else build in this place. You wouldn't expect to be able to build there. It's so well hidden. It's fucking brilliant. I've never uploaded a video on it, so what I might do is build in this location. Like, get back on the game. I'm going to have to go and harvest a load of materials to do it again, because I've got nothing. Right, I'm going to start the game. I've got a max level character, and I've got to go and pick up a branch and a piece of wood to make a bloody crappy axe and a pick to start from scratch. But it doesn't take long. If your character's max, it doesn't take long to build up your stuff again. But anyway, I want to build a base in this location. It's a brilliant location, it really is. And once I've built my base there, I will I'll upload a video on it and show you guys, because it's fucking awesome. I've never seen anyone else build there on any server, and you just wouldn't expect to be able to build there. And it's quite hard for people to find it. I mean, it's not particularly well hidden. It's just that you really wouldn't expect a base to be there, so you wouldn't look. And also, it's not super easy to get to. It's not really hard. In fact, yeah, it's not that hard to get to really at all. But yeah, I think it's a brilliant place to build a base. The place where I like building a base the most is on the Broken Bridge. That's my go-to place right at the beginning of the game. I love building there. There's loads of room. It's out the way. You can build a dummy base on the ground to distract people from what's on the bridge. But on the server that I'm currently playing on, I did have a base there. I raided someone else's base, and he come online, so I ran away and I went through a teleporter, and I didn't know he'd followed me. So he followed me, and he actually saw me go up to my base on the Broken Bridge. So he then raided my base up there and completely destroyed it. But that's the only time I've ever had that base raided. It's never been found before. It's not well hidden. It's just you wouldn't expect a base to be there, because it's right at the beginning of the game. There's not great resources there, and it's a place where a lot of people build shit stuff on the floor. So that's what I do. I build some shit on the floor. That stops other people from building that area, and then I build my epic base hidden on top of the bridge. So yeah, because this guy actually followed me to see where I'd come from, he saw my base and then destroyed it. So unfortunately on that server, this person knows. But I mean, this is going back well over a month now, so I don't know, but I imagine if that person's still on the server, I imagine they are, because they've got an epic big base in the desert. But I want to get back on there, and I want to build in the place that I said that is very well hidden. And if I do it, I'll show you guys where it is. Right then, one thing you didn't do was to use the addiction. This is like what I was talking about earlier. Use addiction, withdrawal, reduce your character even more. I don't really think that you need to do it, because your character is pretty damn strong anyway, but it's interesting to see whether it's possible. I've not checked it. It might be. Right, man, check my drift videos. I think you will like them, because I think he's trying to say I'm on another level. Should we have a look? Should we have a look at this dude's drift videos and see what they're actually like? I'll leave it to load while I go on to the next comment. I'll give him a thumbs up anyway. For promoting himself on my channel. Wonder how many, let's see how many subscribers he's got. Does he need to promote himself? It's still not loaded. Right, yo, I watched your video and took a video of me using it. Direct message me on Insta. I don't use Insta, I'm not going to direct message you, but hello, Riley Sturgeon. I'm glad you used my my thing. Looks decent, might give it a go. Yeah, it is pretty good. Right, one of the things that happened day before yesterday, I didn't play any games at all yesterday, I was busy all day. One of the things that happened on my last playthrough, the Vicar, Max and Parvati were having a conversation, And Parvati was saying, I can't believe you went to prison and you kept that hidden. And he was saying, no, I was assigned to prison. And then I attacked something and they went shit and they started attacking the thing and we had this big fight. And then after the fight, the vicar went, what were we talking about? And he goes, oh yeah, prison. I didn't actually go to prison, I was assigned there. So they picked up the conversation from exactly before we had the little battle. I thought that was a really, really awesome little attention to detail. I was very, very impressed with that. So yeah, it's... the game has done quite a lot of things really fucking well. It really has. I think... I mean, I love Fallout 4, as you all know, but I do think that Bethesda could have a look at this game and steal a few ideas from it. There are some really fucking good ideas from it. And I reckon, I tell you what, Bethesda could have a look at Fallout 4 and steal some of their own ideas for their future games, because Fallout 76 is a right pile of fucking shite compared to Fallout 4. It really is. It's like they really need to look at what they did in Fallout 4, look at why the fans adore it so much. So many little touches in that game that are beautiful. I've said it loads of times before that the character creation, when you swap over from male to female and kind of like the guy nudges the woman out of the way of the mirror, or you tweak your nose and your partner says, oh, I love your nose, or you change your hair and they go, have you had your hair done? Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Like the best character creation for like... It's just the best I've ever seen by a long way. The character creation itself, the amount you can manipulate a character is pretty good anyway, but it's just the way that they've incorporated it into the lore of the game. It's not like I'm building a character, click a button and they suddenly change from male to female. It's not like that. And then when you're in the game itself, it's like you can change your character, but only when you get to a point in the game where you can have cosmetic surgery. You can change your hair, but only if you go to a barber and you pay them to change it for you. It's just so well done. It's just like everything in the game just is... It's like the role play factor, they've really paid attention to, incorporating all that in a way that is lore friendly. It's brilliant, really brilliant. And so many things in the game are done well as well. The story's good, the multiple endings, all of them are pretty good. It's just a good game. It's got its faults, it's got its problems, obviously, as all games do, especially from Bethesda. But it's like so far ahead of Fallout 76. It's on a completely different level. It really is. And what they need to look at why Fallout 4 was so good, and then they need to take those elements and put them into a new game and then improve other stuff as well. Not just fuck those things off like they never existed. They didn't exist in anyone else's game. You thought of them, you did them, it was brilliant, and then you made another game and you sacked them all off. It was an insane step backwards. Right, Movies and Games is saying, I hoped you could give the last two Hitman games a try. I had a little crack on one of the Hitman ones. A Hitman came on Game Pass or Gold, I don't know. So I had a little crack on it. I've never really got into the Hitmans. I know there's like lots of various ways you can do things and good. And good? Why did I say that? I don't know. I might have been looking at the word somewhere. It's here. That could have... got into my mind. But yeah, I can't understand why I didn't get into Hitman more than I did. It looks like the exact sort of game I would love. But I'll tell you what I think it is, right? And I do this a lot. I do it on films as well. The guy himself looks like someone from like my, not childhood, but earlier life that I really did not like. And that kind of puts me off playing the game a bit. And it's like, if there's a film and one of the main characters in the film looks a bit like someone I didn't like someone who was a complete cunt at school or something like that, it puts me off the film. And it's, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a famous actor that very much looks like someone that I really didn't like from my childhood. And I just don't watch any films that person's in. It totally puts me off them. But yeah, that happens with me a lot. And the dude, the Hitman guy himself, he does look like someone that I don't like. Not from childhood, but from around my mid-20s. I mean, I was a DJ at the time, and there used to be a lot of fights in the nightclubs and stuff. And there was this guy who I was emceeing, and I was like, "Oh, massive shout going out to you, and you." And as he walked past the DJ box, I did a shout out to him, and he had a pint in his hand, and he threw his pint into my face. The pint glass smashed in my face, and the beer went all over the DJ box. A big fight broke out. The doorman threw them out and everything, and it kind of just put a bit of a downer on what was otherwise an amazing night. And there used to be, I mean, there were quite a few different gangs from my town, and when they were at the same place, and a lot of people had died from a car crash, and they came from the sort of gang that was from the place where I grew up in my estate. So we was doing a night out of respect for these people that had been killed in this crash. And then there were people from like another area of town, or like a rival gang sort of thing. And there used to just be a lot of trouble in the clubs because of people from different estates. And obviously people knew which estate I was from, and that would cause problems. And then because certain people look like people from that era, I immediately take a dislike to them, no matter what. And if they are the lead character of a game, I just don't play that game. So yeah, that's kind of where it comes from, really. It's a bit stupid, but yeah, that's the reason behind me not really getting into Hitman. I love the idea of it, but it sort of reminds me of things that are a bit dark. But when I first started DJing, I was DJing at this club in called 007s. It was all like a James Bond themed club, and I'd started seeing this girl who worked there. She was like the head barmaid of the place, and I was the DJ, and we'd started dating each other. We'd been dating for a couple of weeks, and my name is Steve, and my mate, another DJ, Dr. Booper is his DJ name, but which I'm sure that Booper are not very happy about. But anyway, his name is Steve as well, and I've spoken about him several times. He's the guy that had the Capri, and he DJ'd at the same nightclub. I DJ'd there on a Thursday and a Sunday night. He DJ'd there on a Friday and a Saturday night. So he'd got like the prime slots. I'd got like an indie night on a Sunday, and I got like a rave night on a Thursday, I think it was. And he'd got like a disco and party nights on Friday and Saturday. We both called Steve, both DJ'd at the same club, and I'd started seeing this girl who was the head barmaid at that place. I didn't know that she was engaged to some nutcase to be married. And, people told him. So people was like, Craig, your missus is seeing some guy, the DJ from 007s. And he was like, what? He went fucking furious about it. So he stormed down to 007s on a Friday night to kick the shit out of this DJ called Steve, who was banging his missus. I had no idea it was his missus. I mean, they ended up splitting up, and we were together for about 3 years. But he went down there and tried to kick the shit out of my mate Steve, who had done nothing wrong whatsoever, but he wasn't me. So a few things like that used to happen. A lot of people used to get us mixed up, and from stuff that I did, my mate Steve, that also DJ'd at quite a few places that I also DJ'd at, used to get the grief for it. So that happened on more than one occasion, but it never happened the other way around. I mean, he didn't do bad shit, so I did a lot of shit, I got away with it, and then he got the blame for it. But it actually did happen the other way around, not with him, but with someone else who actually shares my full name. And this is a guy comes from Burbage, and he used to go to the same nightclub that I used to go to quite a lot over Hinckley. We used to both go to a nightclub called Buzz on the Horse Fair in Hinckley, like years and years ago, back in the very early 90s, like 1990, 91. And they used to have like a bit of an indie night there. I used to go there by myself because none of my friends was into that sort of music, and I really liked it. So I just used to go there on a Thursday night and stand in the queue by myself, sort of pretending that I was with the people either behind or in front of me, so no one thought I was some sad loser. But I got a lot of friends from there. It was my sort of music. I liked the club. I was just going there to dance, really. So it was a lot of fun. But this guy that had exactly the same name as me, he used to go up to the nightclub, and he used to go with his sister. And it was his sister. I didn't know her when they were little. But they met later on. Parents had split up. He'd gone with his dad, I think. She'd gone with her mum. And then later on in life, they met each other as teenagers. And they liked each other quite a lot. So they used to go nightclubbing together. And if they didn't get off with somebody, they'd just get off with each other. So they'd quite often be snogging in the nightclub, and their brother and sister. And they also screwed each other as well, which is not a good thing. But unfortunately for me, he shared my full name. Exactly the same as my name, spelt the same and everything. And he's not very well known, but I was quite well known. I was a DJ in various different nightclubs, and I was also a stage hypnotist, so I was quite well known. And then whenever people heard about this guy that has sex with his sister, and they said his name, so I'm like, oh, I know him. He's a DJ at wherever. And then people have come up to me and says, I've heard something about you and your sister. And I was like, that's not me. But yeah, that happened a lot. So even though my mate Steve almost got beat up a few times because of my antics, a lot of people think that I've had sex with my sister, which I haven't, because of this dude's antics that shares the same name as me. So I suppose it's kind of karma, really, isn't it? Steve got into trouble from stuff that I did, and a lot of people come up to me and said, I've heard something about you, but I wonder how many people heard it, believed it was about me, spread it around and told other people as well, and never said anything to me. I wonder how many people I've spoke to, and while I'm talking to them, the entire time we're having the conversation, they're standing there thinking, you have sex with your sister, you have sex with your sister, and your sister's not even very pretty. It's just like, how many people genuinely think that it's me? I don't know. Right, anyone who knows me who's watching this video that previously believed that to be true, that's not me. That's this guy from Burbage that's got my same name. There was another guy with my name. There were 5 people in town that lived in Nuneaton that had the same name as me. And that one of them actually lived in the apartment that I moved into later in life. And another one of them was the year of me at school. And when we were at school in assembly, like they'd call out people's name for certificates and stuff, I used to get up and have all his certificates. So I've got 2 bronze, silver and gold swimming certificates from school. This is like middle school. I don't know whether this dude was a bit shy or something, but whenever there was something like that at presentation, he would never get up. So they'd keep calling out his name and I think, fuck it, I'm having it. So I'd just get up and I'd go to the front, I'd shake the headmaster's hand. Our headmaster was called Mr. Bates. So he's the headmaster. Headmaster Bates. Right, and we didn't even notice. This was middle school, so it's the ages of 8 to 12. It was Swinnerton in Nuneaton, and the headmaster was called Mr. Bates, and we didn't even notice that is Master Bates. And no one said anything about it. I think possibly we were just slightly too young. If it had been secondary school, Jesus, we'd have ripped the hell out of him for that. But yeah, this dude, I think he was a little bit shy about getting up in front of people. At the time, I wasn't. But then around about the age of 11 or 12 when I went to secondary school, I suddenly become incredibly shy of getting in front of people, and I developed quite a bad phobia about it as well, especially if anyone was looking at me. And then later in life I had to overcome that phobia because I obviously had to go on stage a lot for doing the stage hypnosis and DJing, and I used to do all sorts of stuff like that. I was an MC for other DJs. I did compare shows. I did those things where you dress up in a big fat suit and do sumo wrestling and that kind of stuff. I was kind of like an entertainer in a lot of different areas. I did fire breathing and unicycling and juggling and stilt walking and kids parties and all sorts of things. It was good fun. Right, that's enough waffle on whatever comment that was. Right, let's have a look at this. You lose more time doing dirty racing. Yeah, I know you do. But as I said here, it is fun. Yeah, on gravel, I just make it my business to fuck up the other drivers so I can get in front of them. Mashed Monkey, like the playthrough style, can't wait for the rest. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Right, I wouldn't normally ever read something out on a game because I do suffer from, I used to, growing up, suffer from dyslexia very badly. And it was, the way my dyslexia was when I was at school, and dyslexia wasn't a known thing then. I went to school in the 70s and 80s. The way, not much of the 70s, I was born in 1974. I didn't spend many of those years, pre-6-year-old at school. But when I was at school, it's like if I was looking at a page of text, especially if it was black and white, all the words sort of swap places. And when I read it, I'm reading roughly what's there. I read kind of like the same gist, but I don't read the actual words. It's still the way I read now. And I don't know if I'm doing it or not, but I'm probably doing it on this game as well. I'm probably reading out something that isn't there at all. That's just the way I read, but it's the same information. And I didn't know I did that until I was reading out like a bedtime story for my niece and my nephew, and they were looking at the book and looking at me like really puzzled and confused, and I was like, what's wrong? And they went, that's not what it said. And I looked back and I started reading it again and I was like, oh my god, it's not, is it? It's like I'm saying the right stuff, but I'm not saying the right words. It's the right meaning, but it's not the right words. And I do still do it now, so I'm probably doing it on this without realising it. But when I was at school, what I noticed is, first of all, I was doing that, but I didn't know, and then I later became consciously aware of it. But also, the words would move around. They'd swap places. They'd lift off the page so that the page isn't flat anymore. The words would be like... I mean, if someone's got dyslexia, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then you'll probably think this is absolute the ravings of a madman. But this is the way it works in your mind. the words lift off the page. They swap places, they lift off the page, and they sort of hover above the page, but they vibrate. And this was the way that printed text looked for me in a book. And I really, really struggled to read it because it wouldn't, in my mind, it was very noisy. That's the only way I can describe it. It was very, very noisy, and I couldn't calm it down. And also it wasn't flat. I did realise quite a bit later that when I put a piece of yellow acetate over a page, it made it go quiet and it made it go flat, and then I could read it and it stopped being all jumbled up, and that really worked nicely. So what I then started doing was, much later in life when I was on a computer, I'd choose like a sepia tone and things like that, and that would make everything, the best way I can describe it, and this isn't accurate, but the best way I can describe it is that it became quiet. Whereas previously it's very noisy and there's vibration and there's like 3 dimension to it. It becomes flat, it becomes peaceful, it becomes quiet, and I can read it and it stays in order. And it becomes like a lot crisper focus as well. It's just weird. But when I was at school, what I used to do, because I couldn't read out loud, the teacher would say, "Will so-and-so start reading?" And when she said the first name, she'd got a set of patterns that she used, and I'd know from the first name which pattern she was going to use. And those patterns were the register in alphabetical order from A to Z, or from Z to A, or she went around the classroom in a pattern, and she had 2 patterns that she did, and she did those 2 patterns one way or the other way. So that was pretty much the only patterns that she did for the order that we read in. And I'd instantly know which one it was, and I'd know how much she'd be asking each person to read, so I'd know when my turn would be and roughly what I would need to read. So I used to go forward in the book, not listening to anything that anyone else was reading out, to the section that I believed I would be reading, and I usually got it right. And then I would just sit there reading that over and over and over and over again in my head. So when it was my turn to stand up and read, I'd kind of already learned it, and it would be easier for me. Sometimes I'd get it wrong, and if I get it wrong, I couldn't read at all. I just couldn't even get out a single sentence. I'd keep repeating the same sentence over and over. I'd stumble over my words. I'd just go bright red and start sweating. It was fucking horrible. And I'm standing up and everyone's looking at me. If I got it right, I could read reasonably well. So she had no idea what I was doing, so she just thought that sometimes I was being naughty, and I used to get sent out of the class all the time for it. I used to get sent out of the class for everything all the time. But I was very, very literal as a child. I'm slightly Asperger's. And as a child, I was quite literal. And the teacher had asked you something in a sarcastic tone, but I just didn't understand it. So I used to draw a lot. So I'd be drawing in my exercise book, and the teacher would catch me, and she'd go, "Are you going to pay attention, or do you want to go outside and draw?" I genuinely thought that was a question. So I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll go outside and draw." So I just used to pick all my books up, go outside the classroom, and then just sit outside the classroom and draw. And then she'd come out of the classroom really angry and send me to the headmaster. And I think, what the fuck have I done? And I know I've probably told these things again, but I've got no idea who's watched what videos. But the one that used to happen a lot was I used to leave all my clothes on the bedroom floor. And my dad would come in and he'd go, "You're going to pick these bloody clothes up, or I'll throw..." He goes, "You pick these clothes up and put them in the wash, or I'll put them all in the bag and I'll throw them out the window." That's what he always used to say, the same thing. He'd put them in a bag and he'd throw them out the window onto the back garden. Right? The back garden's quite close to the washing machine, and if they're all in a fucking bag, I can just pick up the bag and put it in the wash next to the washing machine. That's a piece of piss. Well, that's a lot easier than picking all of the clothes off the floor individually, carrying them downstairs and putting them in the wash. So every time he'd burst into my room and he'd shout that, and I'd think, when's he going to fucking do it? Why does he keep telling me, right? Either I have a choice, I pick them up and carry them downstairs, or he puts them in a bag and throws them out of a window. Right, I want him to throw them out the window so I can go and pick them up and put them in the washing machine. It's much easier. But he never did it, and I never picked up my clothes, and they used to shout at me and smack me a lot for being messy, because I just didn't understand that it wasn't an option, it wasn't a question, it was just telling me off. So that happened a hell of a lot. Anytime anyone presented me with something like that as a way of telling me off, I genuinely always thought it was just an option. And there are so many things in my life, especially at school, and even when I started working as well, where I got into trouble for that. I got fired from quite a lot of places in my earlier work life from just not understanding that what was being presented to me wasn't an option where I could genuinely pick one and then do that one, even though it seemed to me like that was the better choice. Like going out of the classroom and drawing was a lot better than doing French. I much preferred it. But yeah, that sort of shit used to get me in trouble all the time. Right, so anyway, later in life, much later, like this is going back maybe 10 years, so when I was about from the ages of about 30 onwards, so about 15 years ago. I'm 45 now. What I started doing is, actually it would be from the age of 30. I retired at 29, so from 29 years old I was just at home by myself for most of my life. My partner would go out to work and I'd be in all day by myself. I love me time. So what I started to do was I read a lot, like a shitload. And it's like I used to just go to the library all the time, and I'd read every single book that was in the psychology and parapsychology section that the library had, and all of the like new age stuff. I'm interested in that kind of thing, so I'd read them all. But what I then decided to do when I was about 30, because I knew I couldn't read out loud very well, instead of reading in my head, I would read out loud. I was at home by myself, so I just, for hours on end, just used to read out from the book. Now, when I first started doing this, it was fucking awful. It was just like being in school again. I couldn't read. I was losing my place all the time. I'd read a paragraph and then absolutely forget what I was doing, where I was, what the paragraph was, or anything. It was just a mess. Constantly repeating the same line over and over because I weren't moving down, reading the wrong stuff, the words all moving around, everything just like at school. But I persevered with it. I kept doing it. I used to sit on the toilet reading a book for like 3/4 of an hour until my legs didn't work anymore and they'd gone completely numb and I couldn't get off the toilet. So I did that a lot. And I noticed that I started making fewer mistakes. And then it got to the point, it took a fucking long time, but it got to the point where I was like, oh my God, I've just read an entire page and I didn't make any mistakes. And I read it properly. I couldn't believe that I'd done it. And for years, I always said to people, I'm shit at reading. And I know that what you say kind of programs you quite a lot. So I stopped saying that. And I stopped talking about that kind of stuff at all. And I started instead saying in my own mind, I'm getting better and better in reading all the time. I really enjoy it now. So what I'm doing on this playthrough, reading out the dialogue options, there's no way I could have done this up until the age of about 30. And it's only from all of that time I spent reading stuff aloud at home that I've developed this ability to do this. Whereas it seems like everyone else can just do it anyway. They can just do it naturally. But for me, that was a huge struggle. And I know sometimes I fuck it up, sometimes I get it a bit wrong, but sometimes I'll read out quite a bit of text as I'm playing this game, and a little voice inside in my head will be going, fucking hell, you're doing this really good. This sounds pretty good, and you haven't made any mistakes. And that to me, you guys probably don't notice it or realise how much effort has gone into the background of being able to do that. But that to me feels like a real accomplishment when I do it. It really does, because of the amount of struggle that I had with all of these things growing up. I'm definitely on the Asperger's spectrum. I definitely had dyslexia as I was growing up, but they weren't things when I was growing up. So, you know, I just developed coping strategies for them, which I'm quite happy with. So I'm really glad I had those, you know, I don't call it learning disabilities or anything like that. I'll call it, you know, personality type, because it enabled me to develop in other ways. Now, as I said, I retired when I was 29. I have consistently had my own business since the age of about 15. I had an import-export business when I was 15. I did an interview with kind of like the head of DFDS Trucks while sitting on my brother's bed because he wanted to distribute products from Nairobi to England for me when I was doing an import company. I was 15 years old, and it didn't make any money, but I constantly did things like that my entire life at the same time as working. And when those things started to develop enough money that I didn't have to work, which was pretty much when I got the internet, to be honest. Up until the internet, I weren't that successful. I got the internet, all of a sudden, it didn't matter that I was a kid. I had like a huge market. So as soon as I got on the internet, it started to be a bit more successful. And then over time, things that I would consider my hobbies started paying me more money than my job. And then that's when I retired. So by this time I was 29, so it's quite a lot later. But I was making a fair bit of pocket money from the internet for quite a long time before it got to that level where I could leave work. But I think to be like an entrepreneur, you have to be you need a lot of the personality traits that people with Asperger's have. I think almost all of those personality traits work really well for an entrepreneur. And I mean, for me, I don't have to be social, which is good because I'm not. I fucking hate meeting people. I really do. I hate small talk. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I'm an entrepreneur through the internet, so I don't have to do any networking or any of that shit. So the problems that Asperger's people have, they're not a situation for me, but the things that they have that I consider to be really, really good skills, like becoming absolutely fucking obsessed with things, are incredibly useful to me. So now I can program in lots of different computer languages, and that really helps my business. I studied hypnosis by myself. I became obsessed with it. I went and learnt it. I started doing it. I started doing stage shows and everything, just all off my own back. I then went to college and did psychology. I got A's in my A-levels almost from not doing any work at college because I'd studied it so much myself because I'd become obsessed with it from having that kind of personality. So these things are incredibly useful if you get obsessed with something that is productive. And then when a friend of mine then started doing hypnosis diplomas that were official, and I looked at them and I was like, holy fuck, it's like this guy is going to get patients from the NHS being handed to him as a hypnotherapist. And what I consider he has learned is fucking awful. I couldn't believe it, but I had no qualifications at all. I'd just become obsessed with the subject and researched it in my own time. So I kind of went off and started doing different courses and things then just to get certificates for my therapeutic practice at the time. But that obsession really, really helped. When I was a little kid, I fucking hated it with a vengeance. But now looking back, I can certainly see that that type of personality has helped me in innumerable ways. And where it's helped me the most is to be able to generate income from the internet without having to speak to any people in real life or at all. I speak to you guys, but that's completely different, and there's no way I could have spoke to you guys before I started working on myself. I mean, I became a hypnotist and I started doing psychological techniques on myself to improve my confidence and things, and to be able to look into people's eyes and that kind of stuff. When I was a little kid, I was absolutely convinced that when a person looks into your eyes, they can see everything. So they know every lie you've ever told, they know every thought you've ever had, they can see your soul, they can see your history, they can read your thoughts that you're having right now. And when I was a little kid, I thought everybody was attractive. It didn't matter who it was, it could be my school teacher or anybody. I thought everyone was beautiful. And then when a person was looking into my eyes, I'm thinking, oh shit, they know I think that they're beautiful, and then I'd go bright red straight away. So I struggled with that kind of stuff a lot. Up until around about the age of 18 or 19, which is when I first started learning about psychology and when I started actually using techniques on myself. I was about 19 when I started using hypnosis on myself, and that really, really transformed my life. But it's not just that, it's those personality traits give you the obsession that you need to be able to do things that I think a lot of people wouldn't be able to do. It's very, very easy to get up in the morning, go to work, get someone else to tell you what to do, and then come home. Have friends at work, don't have many responsibilities, and get some money. That is easy to do. It's not easy to come up with an idea, try it, fail, lose money. Come up with another idea, try it, fail, lose money. Have every single person you know telling you that you're wasting your time. Have people moaning at you to get a real job. And then just keep up with that persistence and that tenacity and that obsession until you find something that works and until you break through. It's like you're not going to work. There's nobody giving you deadlines. There's no boss breathing down your neck. It's very easy to procrastinate. It's very easy to put things off. It's very easy to not finish. It's like you don't have friends because you're not going to a place where you can socially interact with people, which is fine by me because I don't like people very much. But people don't realise that when you go to work, they give you a lot more than money. They give you socialisation. They give you friends that you end up having for your life and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff from that. And I think a lot of people cannot step away from that. It's a difficult thing to do. But I think that an Asperger's personality makes you the ideal person to step away from that. You're obsessive. I'm a little bit OCD, and being a little bit OCD means that my business runs a lot better than it otherwise would do. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that are very beneficial from this. And the reason I'm going on about this a lot is I know for sure that a lot of people that watch my videos are exactly the same personality type that I am and I was growing up. And it's like, I think it's such a fucking blessing. I really do. And it's also the same reason why I go on and on and on about You guys that watch my stuff, just get your own channels and start doing something on YouTube that's going to make you a little bit of extra cash. At the moment, my channel is making me about $150 a month. Not a lot by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, it adds up. It really does add up. And I as I said earlier on, I am going to start looking at doing a few other channels as well. I'm not going to try and make this one more profitable. I kind of just enjoy this one as it is. I like you guys. It feels like I know quite a few of you, especially some of the regulars. It feels like if we met in a pub, we'd be old mates. And I've got a face for most of you as well in my mind. I mean, some of you, obviously, I know what you look like. Jaded Fett, for instance, you've got your picture. But others, I don't know what you look like, but you do have a face in my mind. I'm curious to see how accurate that is. And whenever I've done this in the past with people, it's like when I played Guild Wars, I was a guild leader and I had a guild of people. Didn't know what any of them looked like, but then I met some of them and they all looked just like my imagination of them, which I thought was pretty awesome. But we got to know each other quite well, and it feels like that through this. I don't mind actually the following that I've got is probably a lot bigger than I would be comfortable with, but I don't mind that. There's this core group of people that regularly comment and interact, and those are people that I would consider friends, and that's nice. That's enough social interaction for me. I don't need to go to work and talk to people that I'm not interested in, that don't share my interest or hobbies, and you know, I'm just not interested in them. They're probably all thinking I'd love to fuck your wife because she is beautiful, and they probably would. But I find people that you meet through doing things like this much more likable. So I like that. I like that little circle of people. They ain't many. Of the 12.7 thousand subscribers that I have, there's only a handful of people that are in this inner core, but you know who you are. But it's quite handy. It's quite nice. And that's, since I've been doing this, which I haven't been doing for that long really, have I? A couple of years or something probably. But since I've been doing this, it does give you that fix that you need for that social interaction. And it's, I suppose for me, that's something I've never really been that bothered about. But my lifestyle for a really long time was going to coffee shops and writing. And I've written lots and lots of books on various different subjects, mostly hypnosis stuff. And things like that, but I spend a lot of time writing. So when I was in England, I spent a lot of time in coffee shops writing, so I got to know all the staff in the coffee shops and the managers and stuff, and I went to different coffee shops. So I started with Nuneaton, then I'd go to Cov or Leicester or Birmingham, and I got to know the staff of all different coffee shops in all different towns and cities, and that was a nice social interaction for me. They'd ask me about what I'm writing, and then it got to the point where we got more chatty on more personal stuff. Now, since I've moved to Colombia, that's something that doesn't happen anymore. I still do that. I still go to coffee shops to write, but my Spanish isn't good enough to just do small talk chatting with people, and nobody here speaks English at all. So that part of my social life has gone because I don't know the language well enough to be able to just chit-chat with people. When I'm in England, I land in London and I just talk to everybody. If I'm in a queue, I'll talk to the people in front and behind me. You know, I'll just talk to people all the time. I'll talk to people in shops. I'll talk to shopkeepers for lengthy amount of time, as long as there's nobody else waiting and stuff. That's what I do. It's just part of the person that I am now, not the person I used to be when I was growing up. I'll talk to anyone, and if anyone looked at me, I'll go bright red and probably want to piss myself. But that is the person I am now. I'm very, very social. But obviously being in a country that doesn't speak my language, that's a little bit more difficult. Now, that social fix that I think everyone sort of needs a little bit, that comes from this. It comes from you guys commenting on stuff that I'm doing on here. And it's like when I'm playing games and I'm talking, it doesn't feel like I'm recording something and no one's listening to it and you'll listen later. It really feels like as I'm talking, you're hearing me there and then. So it feels social. And it's weird. And I noticed this when I used to play Guild Wars as well, which with Guild Wars, I was genuinely talking to other people that were really there at the time. But I'd play on Guild Wars for a few hours. You know, I'd chat to my guild mates and stuff, and maybe some of the people that play in the game, do a few drops runs and chat to those people. And then I'd turn the game off and I'd be like, holy fuck, I'm by myself. And I'd be in my flat on my own thinking, oh my God, I'm on my own. Yeah, it wouldn't have felt like I was on my own when I was doing when I was playing the game. And it's the same with this. It's like I record a video, and even though it's just a recording, when I turn the video off, it does suddenly feel like, oh, I'm at home by myself. Yeah, I was just talking to all these people, but I wasn't. I was recording something that you'll listen to and comment on later, but it still feels like a real-time conversation. It's weird. But anyway, I strongly recommend that anyone who's a little bit like on the autistic spectrum, a little bit Asperger's or whatever, I'm dyspraxic. I have no idea where my body ends. I constantly bump into stuff all the time. I cannot walk through a door without banging into one side of it or another. It's just, but as I say, I don't care about those things at all. And I honestly think that before we're born, we choose our lifestyle, we choose our family, our friends, our parents, what lifestyle we're going to be born into so that we can learn certain lessons. We also choose things like, I want to be born dyslexic for a specific purpose. I want to be born slightly Asperger's for a specific purpose. And I think I absolutely chose those things because I had an agenda, I had a plan. And I think I'm on my path with that plan. I think I'm doing what I set out to do. I might not be exactly where I wanted to be. I'm a little bit behind, but I'm definitely on that path, on that plan, doing what I set out to do before I chose to be a human. And I chose certain personality traits, certain belief systems, certain friends, and all that stuff to nudge me in that direction. I absolutely believe that I'm doing that. I'm not going to go too deep into this. I've got another channel where I do go into this stuff. If you're interested in it, go there. I'm not going to talk about this stuff, spiritual stuff and things, and Pleiadians and anyway, let's crack on. If you're interested in that stuff, go to my other channel. My other channel is called Hypnospirit. So Hypnospirit, YouTube. Like that, look. I've called myself Hypnospirit because hypnosis, spiritual stuff, for fucking ages, right? Absolutely ages. And then this dude came up a few years ago and he says, I've called myself, my name's Hypnospirit, I've got a trademark on it, you've got to change your name. I'm like, fuck off. You don't own just a word. I hate the idea of trademarks and all that sort of stuff. It's just idiotic. It really is. But it's like this dude is a hypnotist. He's got no followers whatsoever. I got about 5,000 followers on my YouTube. I was like, look, mate. It's like you're probably getting business from people looking for me and stumbling into you. It's not happening the other way round. It's like I have a much bigger following than you do. I couldn't believe it. I said, look, you've called yourself Hypnospirit as well because you're a person that does hypnosis and you're very spiritual. Spiritual people don't say you can't use this name because it's my name. I'm going to sue you. How spiritual are you? Fuck off. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. What a twat. So if you're watching Mr. Hypnospirit dude that named yourself years after I started using this name, fuck you. Look, this is actually my channel where I often mention my hypnosis and law of attraction videos. Check it out, YouTube, Hypnospirit. Right, so it's that there. If you want to look at my other channel, it's this. Copy it, and I'll paste it into here, and we'll go. So it's youtube.com/user/Hypnospirit, as you can see right here. Why isn't it opening? Why is this not happening? Oh, God knows, my computer. Oh, it's because it's trying to load the page. Oh, there it goes. Right, so this is my other channel. There's me, for anyone that didn't know what I look like. This is my more spiritual side, where I'm talking about different things. If you're interested in spiritual stuff, or if you're interested in hypnosis or anything like that, come over and have a look at some of my my videos on here. If you're interested in games, don't bother. Just stay where you are. You're in the right place already. All is good. You don't have to worry. Right, let's get back. Right. Anyway, Mashed Monkey, you are responsible for that tangent that just lasted about half an hour. Well, my cleaning lady that also cooks is here today, and it's now 12:30, and I bet she's made my food and she's waiting for me to stop talking. She won't know what I'm saying. She doesn't speak any English at all, but she's probably listening. I've shut the door to the office as well, and she's probably waiting to put my food out because, I mean, she won't go home until I've eaten my food and she's cleaned the plate. But having said that, I'm not keeping her. She doesn't go home until about 2 o'clock anyway, because she does other stuff after she would normally finish my, I'd eat my food. I don't like it when she cleans my plate. It always feels a bit like she's fussing over me. And so I tend to eat and I don't finish until she sort of goes upstairs to do something, and then I'll finish off quickly and then I'll go and wash my plate and put it away. And then she'll come downstairs and it'll already be done. Ha ha ha. Right, I swapped the engine to make it all-wheel drive. Yeah, I didn't notice that I said that when I said it, but I did notice that I said it when I looked at the video later, and then I was curious to see whether other people would know it. I didn't want to correct myself. But Auto Milky noticed it. So yeah, I took the engine out of my car, I put a different engine in, and it made it all-wheel drive. There you go. Right. I've mentioned you quite a few times, Joseph. You have noticed that your game loading times are markedly reduced when you have it on the external drive versus the internal, which is exactly the opposite of what you might say. I ain't done this yet, but the other day when I was installing something, it said that your internal drive is full. Do you want to put it on your external? So I did. So now my new games are going on the external, but I do think I'm going to copy over the Outer Worlds to the external based on what you've said. To see if it helps the loading times at all. I could test that, couldn't I? I could put it on the external drive and time them compared to timing them on the internal drive. That'd be an interesting video. I'll put it on my notes of videos to make. So I've got kill mod for The Sims, and now I've got time internal int versus external load times. Right then, Mr. Joseph, wasn't it? Joseph Lubman. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name. You are responsible for that video when I make it. So I'm going to make a video and I'm going to check the loading times and see which works best. Right, what about cars that give you 10 wheel spins? What cars give you 10 wheel spins? I didn't know any car gave you 10 wheel spins. But I've been away from the game for such a long period of time. There could be all sorts of shit in there that I don't know about now. Right, we're just waiting for the next lot of comments to load with my super slow internet. It quite often disconnects from my internet and it reconnects to my kind of like boost your internet around your house plugin thing, which sometimes I don't even have connected up properly. So when it's connected to that, nothing loads. It's a pain in the arse. I'm going to have to forget that on my Wi-Fi settings. Right, so yeah, does a car give 10 wheel spins? I didn't know. That's pretty cool. I've seen cars that give 3, but never more than 3. Removal traffic. Right. Oh yeah, on this video I'm talking about stuff that's weird, and he's saying it's strange for you because in the UK almost everything is different, or I felt that it was when I was in the UK for a few days. It's the same as in Colombia or the USA or the rest of Europe, bike brakes and all that stuff. Right, quite often I leave my bike in a parking place when I go to a mall or anything like that, and you see them struggling with it because they're trying to get around a corner by pulling a certain brake and it doesn't work. But yeah, in England, the bike brakes are the opposite sides of your handlebars compared to every other country in the world, or so it seems. I'm not guaranteeing that's true. Don't take that as a fact. But so your front brake is on the right and your back brake is on the left. So if you're going to pull a skid, you pull your left-hand brake and you do a skid. So if you're going to slow down to go around a corner when you're going too fast, you pull your left-hand brake and your back wheel would slow down. So I'm kind of thinking if anyone nicks my bike and they're riding away from it and I'm running after them, they're probably going to slam on the front brake as soon as they get to anywhere they need to slow down and go flying over the handlebars, probably into some traffic. So yeah, it's not too bad. So mine's probably the only bike in Colombia which has got the front brake on the right hand side and the back brake on the left. But I'm noticing loads of stuff. It's like almost everything, the way you do it in England is backwards to the way you do it here. It really is. And I did mention on a previous video as well, I was playing poker with my wife and a few of her mates, and you play anti-clockwise, not clockwise. I was like, this is so fucking confusing as to when you're big blind and small blind, and it's just like you're watching the game and you're seeing what position the people are in based on, you know, whether they're going to bluff or not and stuff like that, if they know how to play poker. If they don't, they're just going to fucking do something. Like, people who can't play poker properly are like people that bash buttons when you're playing Mortal Kombat. I mean, you can't fight them because you don't know what they're going to do. But people who can play poker properly, you know what they're going to do based on what position they are and stuff like this. So you can kind of read them a lot more easily because they're not so erratic. People who can't play poker just fucking bluff all the time no matter what. Right, I've got fucking 7-2 off suit. All in. It's just insane. You're sitting there with deuces and like you... It's just... Ugh. Yeah, it's annoying. But anyway... we then played poker with a different group of people, and they played clockwise. And I was like, I thought you played anti-clockwise in Colombia. And I was like, no. And Carol and her mates do, but not everyone else. So that thing wasn't backwards. So I'm quite glad about it. So now when we play cards, depending on who deals first, sometimes we play one way, sometimes we play the other way. Sometimes the direction of play changes as the dealer moves around the table, which is absolutely insane. You've been playing poker and you pass the cards to someone else and they start dealing the other way. So yeah, it's a bit weird. But let's crack on. Right, then this is Anubis, Richard Goodwin. After me again, Kadumi. I can understand you struggling with this one. Cross-country events are my weakest. Which one was this then? Oh, it was the Oasis jumps. Oh, fucking hell, I had a nightmare with this. And I had a little bit of a break from Forza because I was trying to do my Outer Worlds. I keep going to say the Outer Limits. I was trying to do my Outer Worlds videos and I didn't get back in time to be continuing with this, so I haven't improved my times. I think I'm in the Nomad. But yeah, the person in front of me was Anubis, who is rich. Obviously, this is a fucking amazing name, isn't it? It's like people say, who are you? And you go, hi, I'm rich. And every time you're doing that, you're reinforcing at a subconscious level that you are rich. And then your fucking surname is Goodwin. It's like, how much more of a beneficial name do you want? It's insane. And then you get people with some names which are terrible. I saw a person the other day, what was their name? It wasn't, but it was something like Mr. Failure or something like that. It was kind of like the same idea as failing completely at something, and that was the person's name. I was thinking, Jesus Christ, I'll change that. When I used to work at McDonald's in Tamworth, there was a guy there called Nigel Smallcock, and I was thinking, right, why didn't his parents just say, look, we don't want our kid to get a hideous amount of bullying at school for being called Smallcock. Let's just change our name, shall we? And put him, bypass all that misery. My name was Stephen at school and I got bullied because it sounds a little bit like Stephanie, right? That's insane. But if my name was Stephen Smallcock, I'm sure I would have got a lot more grief than I did. But yeah, Richard Goodwin is a fucking good name. And so you ain't getting no shit from anybody. But yeah, Goodwin. That was a good win. And you're rich. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The best name you can have for telling people your name is Rich. And then every time you say it, at a subconscious level of I am what I say, I think, therefore I am. You're doing it over and over and over again. I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Whereas I'm not, I'm just Steve. When I used to work at the mortgage place, one of the things that we had to do, first of all, it's the last job I had, this is. And I've probably told this loads of times. I only took the job because I was writing a book to do with hypnotic language in sales. And I wanted to test out my technique, so I took a job doing mortgages and insurance sales just to test it. I've told that story before, so I'm not going to go down that route again. But I'd be phoning people up to book the appointments for the mortgages. And there's a lot in a name. I think names are quite important. Now, the name Steve, especially over the phone, sounds like stab. So you phone people up and you go, hello, this is Steve speaking. Or you'd say, my name is Steve. And it's like, ugh, it's like sticking them with a blade. It's like, my name is Steve and I'm going to stab you in the ear with my stylus. It sounds horrible. So I never used to say my name was Steve. I used to say either my name was James. James sounds like a maverick, doesn't it? It's like, if your name is James, then you can get shit done. It's like, if there is a trick, then James will know about it. If there is it's like, I was phoning people up to tell them how to save money on the mortgage. Now, someone called James, they would know all of the tricks to be able to save you money on your mortgage. They're going to fast track your mortgage and save you tens of thousands of pounds, right? Because James is a maverick. Doesn't play by the rules. A little bit like Alan Partridge. Doesn't play by the rules. Or it's not Alan Partridge, is it? It's Thingy Bob in Peep Show. But anyway, he would bend the rules and he would know loopholes in order to be able to get incredible success. That's James, right? Whereas David does play by the rules, but David is reliable. David has got a solid foundation. You can trust David, right? So I didn't like the name Steve, so I liked the name James, and I liked the name David. So I'd phone people up, and I would say either, hello, my name is James, I'd like to talk to you about your mortgage, or I'd say, hello, my name is David, I'd like to talk to you about your mortgage. Right, so I'd say one of those two things. And depending on when the person answered the phone, so they pick up the phone, they go, hello. If that person sounded young, I was James, because young people are interested in all those shortcuts and tricks and stuff that are going to get you the best deal. If that person sounded old, then my name was David, because David's reliable, and old people need someone that's reliable. We've got to make sure that we cross all the T's and we dot all the I's. We do everything properly, everything by the book, and we make sure that they feel safe. So that was David. And David had quite a slow and quite a rhythmic voice, and he talked a little bit different to James. And I can get this done for you, and it's the easiest way that you're going to save loads of money on your mortgage. I tell you, I'm so excited to come and see you. So I'd be James or David when I phoned people up. Then, once I'd booked the appointment, I would then say, we're going to send Steve to... I had to be Steve when I was there with them. I can't tell them I'm somebody else when I'm in the house. So then I would say, right, we're sending Steve around to you. And depending on whether I'd been James or David, I would then say, oh, you're really lucky to get Steve, because either Steve knows all the tricks to be able to get you the best deal, or Steve is really, really reliable. He's probably one of the most experienced mortgage advisors that we've got here, so you can feel really safe in his hands. So that's what David would say. So yeah, I'd send Steve round, and then Steve would turn up at the person's house and use a lot of hypnosis to make them buy a shitload of insurance. So that's the last job that I did anyway. But it was a lot of fun. Right, moving on. Working on 6th November 2019 on Xbox One S. I don't think this will ever not work, because this is a technique on Fallout 4, and I'm pretty sure Bethesda have got better things to do with themselves than get rid of the exploits that are in Fallout 4. Do you hear that pan banging sound from the kitchen? I think that means it's going to be food ready. It's not normally ready this early. It's only 12:30. So yeah, I don't think this will ever get done. Right then, what we got in here? So I reckon you haven't done the old Ken Block thing yet. No, I ain't. I'm definitely going to do it. It's on my list of to-dos, but I haven't done it yet. But something has gone on with the business that I've just finished doing. Something's happened with it that means I've got to go back to the drawing board and redo a lot of it. So that's why I'm doing comments on comments today, because I'm procrastinating and putting off doing what I need to do on my business. But I'm going to do it later. But I've got a fucking lot of work to do now, so I've got to get that done. And then that comes first. It absolutely does. Right, JD Fett, you definitely need a different tune. This was on the Nomad on Club Rivals, which I was really struggling with. May I also recommend one of the Raptors? Yeah, I haven't tried the Raptor, but they're pretty good, aren't they? I've driven them in gravel, if that's the car you're talking about. I quite liked it. Right. Don't listen to JD plays in auto. Right, he's second in the club at the moment as well. And the only one using the Nomad. Right, I thought everyone would use the Nomad. It seemed like the go-to for that. I'm currently working on other cars. By working, I mean finding tunes. I've tried the Nomad in manual, and I'm way slower. Watch this space. So far, you're doing a great job. Mumbles. I won't be beat by auto. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Right. You can read that if you want. A little chat. What we got from Steve. Right, this person is... Hang on, this is difficult to read. In 8 Cake. 50559. They were just ahead of me. Just ahead of RMA4 now. How the hell did you get 102? Yeah, because as I've said, RMA4 is not human. He is a robot. Right, I saw a video the other day of a girl, I think she was 6, and she was doing like a Rubik's Cube in about 7.5 seconds. I can do the Rubik's Cube. It takes me about a minute. You know, 7 fucking seconds for a girl that's about 6 years old. I was like, what the fuck? She might have even been younger than that. She might have been 3 and done it in 1 second. I don't know. Like, why are people from China so fucking clever? Right? I might have said this before. It could be slightly racist. But China is quite an advanced country as far as technology goes. Right? We can all agree on this, yes? Chinese children are absolutely unbelievable at playing games, right? We can all agree on that as well. And they're fucking good at doing Rubik's Cubes as well. Right. Who else thinks that China, without telling the rest of the world, has kind of perfected robots so that they look very human? And at the moment, they're just making children ones. And those children robots are going out into the world and playing on games, and they're just doing stuff that my computer can't even do. It's insane. Why are they so clever? I'm so jealous. I wish that I was one of these children. It is absolutely unbelievable. It's there's another bunch of children called the super psychics. They're all out from that part of the world as well. If you look into those, the super psychics, the stuff they can do, Jesus, it will blow your mind. Right, I'm just going to tell you one thing that they can do. No, I'll tell you 2 things. Right. As a little kid who can take a random page from a book, well, you take the random page from the book while he's blindfolded, you screw it into a little ball, and then he can put it in the pit of his knee behind his leg or in his elbow, and he can read it, right? That's insane. These are the super psychics. There's another one. There's this girl. she's blindfolded. You hold up a photo and she'll tell you the photo, and she can touch it and feel the colours and everything. And then she'll tell you about the person in the photo, like stuff you couldn't possibly know. Then she'll tell you about the person that took the photo, and then she'll tell you about the scene that was around the photo that wasn't captured in the photo. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. I wished I had these skills, I really do. I used to be able to do quite a lot of psychic stuff when I was little. I could see auras, I could see chakras on people. I was very, very good at dowsing things. I still can very, very easily tell when someone's looking at me. And I thought until the other day that's something everybody could do. But there was a film, I think it's called The Spy or something, and they did it in that. They kind of wanted to meet this dude. It's not a film, it's a series that my wife's watching. It looked really boring, so I didn't watch it. But anyway, Sacha Baron Cohen, I think, is the spy. But they arranged to meet him at this cafe, but they're not at the cafe. They're over the road in this window, like higher up, looking down on him. And it was a test to see whether or not he was intuitive. And he looks up at the window. And I said to my wife, yeah, but everybody does that. That's like a natural thing. It's easy to do that. If someone's looking at you, you feel it, and you turn around and look in their eyes. I've always done that. And she was like, no, she doesn't do it. I couldn't believe it. I thought everyone did it. Let me know, do you guys do it? I thought that was an absolutely normal sense that every person has. You know when someone's looking at you. I do it all the time. But when I was little, I had lots of different little psychic things that I could do. And that I used to do, I used to go to I'm not going to go into detail in this because it's a bit weird actually. And a lot of people will think I'm talking bollocks, but I don't care because it's not bollocks. It's something that used to happen every night when I was a child, and it's to do with stargates and portals and other dimensions and other races of people and things like that. But this thing used to happen every single day for me at night time. And there was this place that was forbidden, and there was something that you wasn't allowed to do, and I was very curious about it. And one day, after a lot of time plucking up the courage, I decided that I was going to do this thing. And I didn't actually do it, I just decided that I was going to do it. And the second I decided that I was going to do it, I had an experience with what we now call Men in Black. I was about 8 years old, so I didn't know anything about the concept of Men in Black then. But it was the very typical Men in Black. They were dressed in black suits, they had trilby hats on, they had dark sunglasses. I could see almond-shaped eyes behind their sunglasses. There were two of them. And they did something to me that was very, very, very frightening. And that point stopped me from doing a lot of stuff I could do when I was a kid. So yeah, it was a turning point in my life for a lot of my psychic abilities. But I wished I was like some of these super psychics that most of them seem to come out of China. And they can do absolutely incredible things. I hope that they're not all robots. I hope that this little girl that was, I don't know, 5 months old, who did a Rubik Cube in 0.01 second. I don't know what it was. I think she might have been she was either 3 or 6 or somewhere in between. The amount of time was probably between 3 and 7 seconds, I don't know. But whichever variation of that it could possibly be, she could have been 100 and it could have taken her a minute to do the Rubik Cube. That's still impressive. If that's not that impressive, I take about a minute. But if she took 20 seconds, that's fucking impressive. But anyway, I hope that's a real person. I hope it's not a robot. I hope it's not a genetically engineered clone. I hope it's just a genuine person, and that's the way the human race is going. It's fucking incredible. Right, Sandisti, the water screwed you over. Yes, it did me. It was so fucking annoying. Arame4, also try to avoid the rib cage on that thing. Yes, the rib cage slows you down a lot. Daz, maybe try a different tune. I always read this as DJ. And I always read, it's Don Joe One Song, I think. But because of Day One Song, who's a skateboarder, I can't get his name out of my head all the time. So I always think of Day One Song. It was a fucking amazing skateboarder, but I am a big Rodney Mullen fan. So I come down on the side of Rodney every time. He's just the legend of all skateboarding. Maybe try another car. You can change tune cars anywhere. Right, we're getting into just all the comments on what you do on Forza, but I am going to call it a day. I'm not sure how long this video has been, but I definitely know that food is ready because I just heard My cleaner opened the cupboard where she gets the placemats from to put on the table, so that definitely means that food is ready. So rather than have her wait for me, I'm going to shut this video down, go and have my food, and then I'm going to do the stuff on the business that I need to do and stop procrastinating. I hope you enjoyed this comments on comments. It feels like it's been quite a short one compared to normal. Please leave some comments on my comments on comments, and I'll probably comment on your comments on my comments on my next comments on comments video, and that will be fun. See you all soon, guys. You take care. Have an awesome whatever it is wherever you are. Bye bye.